This is the video showcase for the AhaRx for Diabetes Management app. To get things started, we're going to be showcasing the Create New User option. We're going to click on the button at the bottom. It's going to ask you for your name, email, password, and what type of user you are. So we're going to input John Doe for the name, just a couple of test variables, john@doe.com, and we'll enter a very simple password. The last input it asks you for on the initial patient creation is the user type. We're going to click patient, submit at the bottom. On the next screen, it will ask you for various information about the user. It starts off with a text box asking for the age. Then it will ask for the gender, which is a picker, weight in another text box, and then height in a picker, as well as the diabetes type in a picker. We're going to just again get through this quickly, pick some random variables, showcase what the pickers actually look like. We'll go for type 1 diabetes and click submit again to actually show you the home page of the app. But before we dive into that, let's sign out of this new patient that we created and go to a different one that has a bit more information. To get things started, we will sign into a patient account that has previously been created. The sign-in page is going to ask you for your email and password. We're going to be signing into the Suite Demo account. We're going to hit login. It's going to take us to the home page. This is the initial home screen for a patient. At the very top, you'll notice a navigation drawer. The navigation drawer has buttons that will take you to anything that you could need as a patient for the app. There's also a button that will take you to the messenger. We can see a developer message. The messenger also gives the patient the ability to send the nutritionist a message. We will tell them good morning. Hopefully they'll get that. We'll see that later. Click send. You can go back to the home screen. The home screen shows us 3 different circles that have 3 different numbers representing a fasting blood glucose, post-meal blood glucose, and your A1C number. We're going to scroll down a bit and show you the rest of the home page. We can see a next appointment, date, 3 different buttons, a graph, a chart, all related to the blood glucose numbers that the patient has been entering. The chart buttons slide left to right as you just saw to either delete or edit. We're going to choose to edit. The top field is populated with 190, which was what the previous glucose level was. We're going to click on that to change it. Change it from 190 to 200, and at the bottom of the screen you can see that the 190 is gone and replaced with a 200. To further show that, we're going to add a new one with the input glucose reading button. The next screen will ask you for 3 things: your glucose level, of course, what type of reading that it was, and if you had any extra notes you can also submit that. We will be able to very clearly see the difference on the next screen, especially in the graph. The graph has, of course, spiked because it's very different than any of our other readings, and it's also at the very bottom, along with a time recorded and what type of reading that it was. We are going to show the diet page next. On this screen, it shows your average daily diet, the average of the previous 7 days, and this is the diet logs. Each diet log that you've input gets shown in that chart, and we can also add new ones with the update diet button. As a picker for the date, we'll choose the 21st and try to get through this quickly again. Pick some random values. It's going to ask you for the fruits, vegetables, grains/starches, protein, desserts, water, sugary beverages, and coffee/tea. We will submit that. It's going to update not only the averages but also the diet logs, so there is now 4 entries instead of 3. Now if we wanted to update it, we could pick the exact same date since this is a daily log, so we would just choose the same date and you can change the numbers. If you either got one wrong or ate something else, you can also delete them the same way by choosing the exact same date. And at the bottom it shows your nutritionist suggestions that the nutritionists themselves are able to input. And on this last button, it's your medications. So the patient is able to see their dosage, time that they're supposed to take it, and the actual medicine name itself. Lastly, we will show you the settings button from the navigation drawer. This button takes you to a screen that allows you to change any of the information that you input, either when you created your account or changed afterwards. Next, let's log out of this account and show some of the nutritionist screens. We're going to click sign out and then yes. Going to load another video clip that has the nutritionist views on them. From here, we will sign into a nutritionist account. It's going to be an account that was previously set up and has some information already input. It's the same as the patient for logging in, just an email and password. Click the login button. Takes you to the nutritionist home screen, which looks pretty different from the patient one. It is simply just a list with all the patients that have been tied to this nutritionist's account. The patient names slide left and right. You can either choose to delete a patient, or there's also a button that takes you directly to the messenger linked with that patient. We're going to remove one here, and we're also going to go to the navigation drawer where there is a new button that lets you add a patient. So all you have to do here is input the patient's email. We will input the same one that we just deleted. Add that back. As you can see here, there are now 3 instead of 2. It adds it back instantaneously. The next thing that we are going to show you is what happens when you click on a patient's name. It takes you to something very similar to the patient's home screen. You can see the numbers and the circles, their graph, the chart. It is all the exact same information that the patient can see. There's also the messenger button at the top. We can see a hello from one of the patients. I think we have another phone off screen that is also running the app signed into this patient. We're going to tell them good morning. Let's see if they have anything to say back. All of the messages are stored on Firebase, so it should be very instant that the patient gets it. They sent us have a nice day, and all those messages stay stored on Firebase, so if we went back in, they'd all still be there. We're going to go back to the home screen. We can see some of the patient information that they input when they created their account. We're going to click on the patient's diet to showcase the suggestions that you can send to the patient. Again, this is stored on Firebase, so we'll be able to see it change instantaneously. It's already changed on our screen. Submit actually changes it for the patient. Another thing we want to show is the medications tab, exclusively for the nutritionist. Has the same information, but there's a new button. We can either delete, edit, and add medications. So we'll delete this aspirin one and add it back at a lower dosage. It's going to ask for the medicine name. We obviously know that. Then the dosage and the dosage rate. We're just going to add in 250 milligrams, just to half the dosage, just a test. Click submit at the bottom. We can see that it has added it back, lower dosage. I'm going to go back. I have one more thing to show for the nutritionists. It's another setting screen that is inside of the navigation drawer. It's the exact same button, top left of the home screen. Settings, this only allows you to change your username and your password. Going through that will send you an email that allows you to reset those variables. After that, we can sign out just like the patient. We won't be going through the clinician settings because they are largely the exact same as all of the nutritionist screens. And with that, we will conclude the video for the AhaRx Diabetes Management app video.